Hello and welcome to Vedic Vidana. So, we would be continuing two playlists at one time, like simultaneously, because it's very boring to keep on talking with one graha in the mind. Okay. So, while we understand grahas in different houses, this playlist is all about Parivartan Yoga. A complete playlist dedicated to Parivartan Yoga. What is Parivartan Yoga? And how does Parivartan Yoga of different planets affect an individual? So, first of all, in order to understand when does the Parivartan Yoga takes place? See, whenever the Lord of a specific zodiac is sitting in another zodiac, simultaneously the Lord of that zodiac is sitting in the first one, then it is called the Parivartan Yoga. For example, Lord of say number 1 Aries is Mars. Okay, and Mars is sitting in Sagittarius, whose Lord is Jupiter, and Jupiter is sitting in Aries, whose Lord is Mars. Okay, so this becomes a Parivartan Yoga. The Mars, which is sitting in Sagittarius, will behave like Jupiter, Swagrahi Jupiter, and Jupiter, which is sitting in Aries, will behave as Swagrahi Mars. Okay, so when does this take place? When we observe that a particular lord of one sign is sitting in the lordship of another sign, and simultaneously that sign's lord is sitting in this sign. Okay, now we also have two zodiacs for one lord. Okay, say for example, Mars is also governed Aries and Scorpio, and Jupiter is also governing Sagittarius and Pisces. So if Jupiter is sitting in either of Aries or Scorpio, and simultaneously Mars is sitting in either Sagittarius or Pisces, it will create a Parivartan Yoga. Say Mars is in Sagittarius and Jupiter is in Aries. Still it is in Parivartan Yoga, because Lord of Lord of Sagittarius is Jupiter sitting in a Martian sign, and Lord of Aries is Mars sitting in a Sagittarius, that is Jupiterian sign. Okay, similarly if it was reversed, Mars is sitting in Scorpio and Jupiter is sitting in say Pisces. Mars is sitting in Pisces and Jupiter is sitting in Scorpio. So again, Pisces is Jupiterian sign and Mars is sitting over there, and Scorpio is Martian sign and Jupiter is sitting over there. So both these will act as Parivartan. Okay, so Parivartan is all about planets acting like the change lords. Okay, now the common misconception is you do not have to understand like the planet itself changes the role. Okay, so say the Mars does not become Jupiter. Okay, Jupiter does not become Mars. They do not exchange their moola behavior. Okay, the basic nature. They do not change the basic nature. What they change is how they are giving the fruit. Okay, so if we are taking the same example, Jupiter is a Sattvic planet. Okay, let's not talk about Sattvic. Okay, let's talk about the fruits of Jupiter. The fruits of Jupiter is always guidance. Okay, knowledge, expansion. Okay, and Mars. See, Mars is all about action, action, and action. Right. So what happens is when these two are in Parivartan, they would fulfill their own roles yet behaving like each other. So now Jupiter is going to behave like action, action and action. So the individual who is having this Parivartan, how he would behave, wherever he has to behave like Jupiter, he will behave like Mars, and wherever he has to behave like Mars, he is going to behave like Jupiter. Okay, so this is how it is called Parivartan. Okay, Parivartan does not mean complete change. Parivartan means the roles are exchanged. So when we are considering any other situation, see one more important note. If Parivartan Yoga is present, and if we are considering any other rules of say Parashar or Gemini or any another, let's say we are searching for Aruda or Pak Lagna, anything like that, we do not consider Parivartan as the change of planet. Okay, so there we just assume the planet as it is. Okay, let's say if we are calculating Bhrigu Bindu, so even in Bhrigu Bindu we do not consider Parivartan. If the Lord of the 7th house is in Parivartan, we itself choose it. We do not see Parivartan over there. So we just look at the Parivartan Yoga while searching for answers of how the person or how the planet is going to act. Okay, the position is not changing. Okay, but the benefits is that if you have any malefic yoga, okay, let's say you have a Guru Chandal yoga, okay, Rahu and Jupiter are sitting in Pisces. Sorry, Rahu and Jupiter are sitting in Libra. Okay, Libra is lorded with Venus. Venus is the lord of Libra. So Rahu and Jupiter are sitting in Libra, and Venus is sitting in Pisces. Okay, so when you see the chart, you would directly feel like, oh my God, Rahu and Jupiter are together, so it makes a deadly Guru Chandal Yoga. Okay, but see how Parivartan is helping it. Jupiter is the lord of Pisces. Okay, and in Pisces there is Venus, which is the lord of Libra. So these two planets will go into Parivartana. So what happens is, now Jupiter, who is sitting in Libra, will act like a Swagrahi Venus, and Venus, which is sitting in Pisces, will act as a Swagrahi Jupiter. So what happens is, the positive thing is that the Guru Chandal Yoga, the Rahu Jupiter Yoga, is nullified. Okay, because the Guru Chandal Yoga happens when Rahu conjoins with Jupiter, because of the fruits and actions of those two planets. But even though Rahu and Jupiter are conjoined, the Jupiter itself is behaving like Venus, so it is cancelling out the Guru Chandal Yoga. Okay, so in other words, Jupiter is going to stay over there, Rahu is going to stay over there, but the problem is, or say the trick over here is, Jupiter is not going to behave like Jupiter, it is going to behave like Venus, nullifying the bad yoga. Okay, but in another way, if you see, it is also creating a mishap. How? Venus in Pisces was let's say exalted. Okay, Venus in Pisces was exalted, but what happens? Now Venus is not behaving like Venus, so the exaltation is also cancelled. Rather, Venus is behaving like a Swagrahi Jupiter. Getting my point? So Venus is behaving like Swagrahi Jupiter. So the exaltation is also cancelled, the Guru Chandal is also cancelled. So sometimes this is just an example. Because of Parivartan, you can nullify, or you might have nullified the bad yogas, and sometimes due to Parivartan you might have nullified the good yogas. Both these cases are possible, because that is what Parivartan is. Okay, so in most of the cases, we, after watching planets, we also have to see in which lordship the planets are sitting. Okay, and check whether or not there is a situation where the Lord of one Rashi is sitting in another Rashi, and the Lord of the same another Rashi is sitting in the previous Rashi, then it is creating that Parivartan Yoga. It might nullify the bad outcomes, it might nullify the good outcomes, it might decrease the blessings, it might decrease the curses you have got. So it can be both the ways. Okay, so in this playlist we are just going to talk about Parivartan Yogas, Parivartan Yoga of every planet we are going to talk about, starting from the sun itself. Getting it? So let's start with sun. Sun is the lord of Leo. Okay. Now if sun is in Parivartan with any of the planet, the first requirement is those planets must be situated in Leo. Only then it can be in Parivartan with sun. Okay. And simultaneously sun should be placed in another, the same zodiac. Okay. So let's start with examples. You guys will get more clearer. Let's say sun is sitting in Cancer. Okay. And moon is sitting in Leo. Okay. So what happens? Who is the lord of Cancer? The lord of Cancer is moon. And moon is sitting in the Leo, which is governed by sun. Sun, which is the lord of Leo, is sitting in Cancer, which is the lord of, which has the lord moon. So both these planets are sitting in each other's lordships. So now this is a Parivartan Yoga. So the sun is going to act like moon, and moon is going to act like sun. So this doesn't this doesn't mean that your father will become mother and your mother will become father. Come on, that's not the way you have to see it. Okay, that's complete bullshit. Sun is going to act like moon, and moon is going to act like sun. So it might specify that you are getting more emotional bondage and more emotions through your father, and you are getting more of guidance and vitality and what you say, strength, strictness from your mother. So your mother becomes a fatherly figure and your father becomes a motherly figure. This is what it means. It does not mean that okay, your father becomes your mother and mother becomes your father. No, not like that. But the roles would be exchanged. Okay, so it means that more of emotional emotional fulfillment you are getting from your father, and more of guidance you are getting from your mother. That is how this Parivartan is going to act. Especially if sun and moon are in Parivartan, the person may be philosophical in nature. You might be very good in poetry, writing. You have such creative things, creative, what you say, abilities, skills that might help you in all types of Venusian acts. Next, if you see is let's take another example with the sun only. This video is for sun. With each planet, I will make a video. Okay, so this is about the sun. Sun in Parivartan with each of the planets. Okay, so sun in Parivartan with moon. So father is giving you a lot of emotional support. It also signifies that you are the mental peace of your father, and on the opposite side, your mother is getting strength and vitality from you. Let's say confidence. Okay. One more thing. Sun is also a planet which governs and controls. So your mother becomes the controlling factor in your home. Okay. Rather than your father. Your father becomes a supporting factor. Your mother would be controlling factor in your home. She would be governing everything. She would be the head of family. Okay. Whereas your father would be a serving factor, a supporting factor, which is keeping everything intact. Because what does moon do? Moon is keeping everything closely so that nothing falls apart. And sun is what sun is doing, like it is governing everything and putting each thing at its place. Okay, so the roles are reversed. The people are not. Okay. So now let's move on to another example with the sun itself. So let's say your sun is in Aries. Okay, and Mars is in Leo. So what happens again? There is a Parivartan. The sun is going to act like Mars and Mars is going to act like sun. But here there is a complication. Since we have two Martian signs, we have to see how would the sun act. Will sun act like Aries Mars or will it act like a Scorpio Mars? Most people don't know that even though there are two lordships of each planet, the planet acts differently in those two signs. Okay, say Aries Mars. Aries Mars is, see, Mars is like strength, masculinity, stamina. But Mars is also rage, aggression, fights, war, battles. Okay, so there are two different Mars. In Aries, Mars is all about hard work, all about working out, all about energy, the muscular Mars, the one that protects. Okay, but let's see the opposite. The Scorpio Mars is like the one who defeats, the one who fights, the one who has, the one who goes at the war. Okay, so Aries Mars is kind of a good Mars, whereas the Scorpio Mars is kind of a harsh Mars. Okay, because the same energy you can utilize in making your muscles and your body and your courage, the same energy you utilize in anger, rage and hyper impulsive behavior. So it is the two sides of Mars. So over here, if we are talking the Mars of Aries, so sun is going to act like the Mars of Aries and Mars is going to act like the sun of Leo. Okay, since sun has its only one sign. Okay, so there is no what we say confusion out there. So the father is going to act like the Aries Mars, and Mars being your elder brother or your cousins, okay, they are going to act like Leo sun. Okay, so your cousins in this scenario, your cousins might be more responsible than your father. The teachings of a father might be provided by your cousin brothers. It might also be possible that you might be living with your elder brothers, elder siblings who would be earning money and giving you survival while you are working. Okay, so it is possible that your brother is fulfilling the role of your father, whereas your father is fulfilling the role of your brother. Okay. Second thing, when sun acts like Mars, what does it has trouble in it? See, sun is very good at handling things. Mars is not good at handling things. Mars is good at acting, performing. Okay, so in this case, your sun is going to act like Mars, and wherever you have to govern things, manage things, at those scenarios, you will start acting. Okay, let's say in your workplace where you have to manage and organize things, rather than managing and organize things, you will start working out. Okay, so when you have to manage your employees, you would have trouble with it. Okay, so as an administrator, as a manager, there is going to be a lot of trouble for you. Why? Because your sun is not acting like sun. Your sun is acting like Mars. Okay, so what happens? It is very difficult for you to be like sun, because your sun itself, your authority itself, is acting like Mars. And Mars is all about saying that I have courage, I am trying to do this, I have the will to do this. Okay, so what happens is, that will, that courage is seen in administration. So where you have to apply tactics, you won't apply tactics. Rather than you will apply force, power. Okay, and the opposite person will know that, okay, the person is utilizing its force and power to keep authority on us. Whereas sun is not like that. The authority sun is not exercised by power but by tactics. Okay, so in this case your Mars becomes Sun. So wherever you have to show your courage, rather than you will act very tactfully, maybe it in family, maybe in workplace, that we have to see where your Mars is placed. If it is placed in house, you will act tactfully in house. If it is placed in 10th house, then in your career. If it is placed in 7th house, then with your wife or husband or your spouse, let's say. Okay, so similarly the Mars is going to act like Sun. So rather than being courageous on that part, you will be tactful. Okay, and where you have to administer, where you have to govern, rather than being governed, you will be courageous. You will try to exercise your power. Getting my point? So this is what happens in Parivartan of Aries Sun and Leo Mars. Okay, now let's say Scorpio Sun and Leo Mars. Now the same situation is there, but Sun is not placed in Aries, Sun is placed in Scorpio. Still the Parivartan Yoga is there, but now things are going to appear differently. The difference is that the Sun is not acting like Aries Mars, rather it is acting like Scorpio Mars. Okay, so and Mars is definitely acting like Leo Sun, because we just have one sign of Sun. So Mars is acting like Leo Sun. It is going to apply tactics. It is always trying to govern its authority and be on the charge. Okay, so that is what the common role is. But over here, the Sun has changed the role. Even if it is acting like Mars, it is not acting like Aries Mars. It is acting like Scorpio Mars. Okay. So see, Scorpio Mars is hyper impulsive, aggressive, the one that goes into war. The Veerbhadra is Scorpio Mars. Okay, he won't think and just cut the head. Okay, hyper impulsive in speech. Okay, so what happens is Scorpio Mars is very hyper. Let's also say, use the word rageful, angry. So what happens? There is a problem with self-control, because Sun should have self-control. It should know how much sunlight to give. It should not burn plants. Okay, what happens when Sun goes out of control? Everything is burning. So self-control is very necessary. What happens in this yoga is that it loses self-control. So in this case, the father of the native loses self-control. He might be very aggressive person, abusive person, especially in language. If Mercury is bad in language, he would be abusive. If Saturn is bad, he would be physically abusive. If Jupiter is bad, he would be mentally abusive. Okay, so these abusive characteristics might come from the father of the native. Why? Because the Parivartan is there. Whereas the brother is again going to act like Sun. Getting my point? So this was the Parivartan of Sun and Mars, but this time the Mars was of Scorpio, not of Aries. This is a minor thing we need to always check. Parivartan is there, but is the Parivartan through Aries Mars or Scorpio Mars? Both are different in nature. The person who is in army and the person who is a terrorist, both will have the Mars. Both will be having Martian traits. But the army man is a protector. A terrorist is a destroyer. Aries Mars is a protector. Scorpio Mars is a destroyer. Understand that? So these are the characteristics which be exchanged. Okay, so in Parivartan, characteristics are exchanged. The position and place is not exchanged. Okay, so the Mars is again getting Sun's characteristics, Sun getting Mars characteristics. This was about Mars. Now let's say Sun is in Parivartan with Venus. Let's take Taurus. Okay, Sun is sitting in Taurus and Venus is sitting in Leo. So what happens? The Taurus Sun will act as a Swagrahi Venus. Okay, and Leo Venus will act as a Swagrahi Sun. So Venus, see what describes Venus. What describes Venus? Venus is usually your relationships, your emotional center, okay, that which makes you feel happier, blissful, with harmony, filled with harmony. Okay, so now this Parivartan, you will see a lot of change. The place where you have to be emotional in nature, you would be authoritative and controlling. The place where you have to be controlling, emotions are going to tie you down. Okay, so let's say Taurus. How is Taurus Venus and Libra Venus? Both are governed by Venus. Taurus Venus is more of a soft-spoken Venus. Soft Venus with a lot of self-love, lot of emotional drive, soft nature. Okay, whereas Libra Venus is more of an emotional and romantic Venus. Libra Venus is more of romance. Okay, romance and let's say love. Whereas Taurus Venus is about love, but less about romance. It is that white love that brings mental peace and calmness. Whereas Libra Venus is that naughty Venus. Okay, whereas Taurus Venus is not the naughty Venus. Libra Venus is the naughty Venus. Taurus Venus is the sweet Venus. Okay, let's talk about perfumes when we are talking about Venus. Okay, so Taurus Venus is rose or fruity Venus. Okay, let's say flowery and fruity smell Venus. Okay, and when we are talking about Libra Venus, it is more about musk mixed with sandal, or let's say a bit of cinnamon, 20% cinnamon mixed with woody fragrance. Okay, so that Libra Venus is more of a romantic kind. Taurus Venus is more of a simple kind. So let's see, the Taurus Venus is in Parivartan with Leo Sun. So the Venus of Leo is going to act like Sun, and Sun of Taurus is going to act like Taurus Venus. So your father would be very sensitive in nature, very sensitive father, just like Taurus Venus. Your father would be sensitive, very simplicity in nature, no drama, very simple person, plus very easygoing, does not fumble with people or get into any kind of issues. Okay, he would be secluded in its own boundary. But the thing is, his emotional drives would sometimes be making him indecisive. Why? Because your father is having more Venusian traits than Sun traits. Okay, and if we just, let's not consider just as a father figure Sun. Sun is also the karak of work. Sun is also the karak of earning money, because it also has some power over the 10th house. Okay, 10th house is nothing else but 12 a.m. in the morning. So let's say Sun is also your career. So in your career, you would be emotionally driven. You won't choose your career wisely and logically or practically. Rather, you will choose your career in which you feel satisfied and you get inner satisfaction. Okay, so you might be having some career related to Venusian fields, your art or acting or dancing or drawing or painting or drama, anything like that. So you would be following your passion. Why? Because passion is no logic. Passion is your emotional fulfillment. Logic is with Sun. So what is happening? Your career, where you have to focus on logic, you are not focusing on logic. You are focusing on your emotional driven satisfaction. So it is more likely that you choose a field which is which you love from inside. Okay, rather than the field which you should technically choose because you are earning more in that field. So if you are earning more in doing, if you have a good brain and you are earning more while doing while being an accountant, but you love playing guitar, okay, then you will not be an accountant, you will be a guitar player. Okay, so your sun changes that way. And talking about the Venus is also your spouse and affection. Okay, so over here Venus is acting like sun, so there is a bit of problem over here, because when sun and Venus are in Parivartan, it is usually seen that there are some ego clashes and ups and downs in relationships, because sun is always about controlling, and relationships are governed with Venus where there is no control, it's just us and not me, whereas sun is me, aham. Okay, sun is that aham, Venus is not the aham. So when sun and Venus are in Parivartan, in your relationships there would always be this me thing. Okay, I want this, you don't do this for me, I want this, you want this, I am doing this. Okay, so this I and me, or some ego clashes, self proclaimedness, that might disturb. Okay, so there might be some ego clashes in your relationships, and for that you have to remove the ego out from yourself and also your partner, because your partner is more likely to be either egoistical or let's say who wants to do things in their own way, like the sun makes all the planets revolve. Okay, so you have to be careful with your relationships. You might do some sun remedy and it might be okay. Wake up before the sun. Okay. So similarly, if now there is a Parivartan with Venus, but it is not the Taurus Venus, it is the Libra Venus. So what happens? Sun is sitting in Libra and Venus is sitting in Leo. So in this way, there would be one good thing, one bad thing. The good thing is Libra Sun is debilitated. Okay, so all the bad things in the Libra debilitation sun you are getting, you won't get. Why? Because sun itself is behaving like a Swagrahi Venus. So that debilitation of the sun is Cancer. Okay, the debilitation of sun is Cancer. Rather it is behaving like a Swagrahi Venus, which is very good. But the Leo, in Leo, where Venus is placed, it is again behaving like sun, but that sun is behaving like Venus again. So what happens is the same scenario. Your emotional drive would sometimes make you do things which is not justified, because Libra is the sign of justice. It wants justice. It always wants balance in this or that: career life, work life, personal life, family life, work life. Okay, it wants balance. Okay, that's Libra Venus. Now what happens is Libra Venus in Parivartan with Sun, which means that the Sun is losing control over the balance. Get the thing straight. The sun, which now had to balance, which means your father might be a biased person. Wherever in your career you go, in your career you might face biasness. Okay, it is very difficult for you to handle things. Two things might come all at once suddenly. So all this situation you will be facing, in which it would be very difficult for you to balance, especially sun governing your career factor. Your career would have a very heck in balancing things out. Okay, now where are you losing the balance? Again, you have to check where the sun, where the sign of Leo is placed. It is placed in 10th house, then you are losing balance in your career. It is placed in 4th house, you are losing balance in your home life. It is placed in 7th house, you are losing balance with your spouse. Okay, so wherever it is placed, you have to see where there is a lack of balance. But talking about Libra, it is working out, because the debilitated sun is going away. All the negative things you are getting because of the debilitated sun of Libra, now we are not getting. The sun is itself acting like Venus. So your father, although being emotionally driven, would be beneficial for you, because he is now not acting in a certain manner you won't like. Okay, your authority, even though it is not excised in many places, yet you are happy with what all you are getting, because the sun is itself acting like Venus. Okay, so you are being you become a satisfied person. When sun is in Libra, you are not satisfied person. But when sun acts like the Venus in Libra, then you become a satisfied person. You are contented with what you have. Okay, so the negative dosh is getting cancelled out. Getting my point? Now moving forward to Mercury. Mercury is in Parivartan with Sun. There are two signs of Mercury. One is Gemini and another is Virgo. So again, Gemini Mercury is different from the Virgo Mercury. Gemini Mercury is all about connection. How to build a very good connection. Because see, the sign of Gemini is all about connection. How to build good connection, how to remain a good how to sustain connections. The connections can be of any type: partnerships, brother sisters, mother son, father daughter, any type of connection. Okay, say work connection, colleagues connections, friend connection. So the Mercury of Gemini is about sustaining connections. How to sustain connection, not making connection. See, Libra is about making connection because it is all about connecting. But the Mercury of Gemini is about sustaining connections. Okay. Now let's see the Mercury of Virgo. The Mercury of Virgo is totally different. Mercury of Virgo is about finding ways out, being on the upper hand in the connection. See, there is a huge difference. Mercury in Virgo is also helping you to remain in connection, but it is also keeping you on the upper hand. It's the businessman. The Virgo Mercury is a smart businessman, a very good calculative person who moves each and every steps in his own calculation. Okay, he has a perfect calculation for everything. A calculated move. He will always move a calculated move of Virgo Mercury. Whereas Gemini Mercury is not a calculative person. He won't calculate his move because he is not focusing on the moves. He's just focusing on the bigger picture, the combination, the merger, how to sustain it. Okay, so let's say Sun is in Gemini and Mercury is in Leo. So there is again Parivartan. In this Parivartan, the Mercury of the Leo is going to act like Swagrahi Sun, and the Sun of Gemini is going to act like the Mercury of Gemini, Swagrahi Mercury of Gemini. So in this case, your father is going to strive very hard in order to keep your home together. There might be some conflict of interest beneath your family life, and your father would be like striving to keep things together, people together, avoiding conflicts. Okay, and also let's talk it in the Sun's manner. The Sun is going to have a very hard time. You are going to have a very hard time in making your sole decision because you always think about others. Okay, you would be continuously thinking about other people, and by this way it is going to be very tough for you to make a decision for yourself, because whenever you are willing to take or think about yourself, you would rather think about others. So even in places you have to think about yourself, you would think about 10 other people. So what happens is, in this case, then it might be possible that you are not giving to you are lacking the self love. You are lacking that self love. Even in cases where you have to think about yourself, you are not thinking about yourself. Rather, you are thinking about the connections and holding on to people. Okay, so holding on to people is going to be usually is going to be a mess for you. Okay. Whereas, see, the Sun is going to act like Mercury. Now, in this case, it is very good. It is giving the Sun a very intellectual ability. Okay, so for the Sun it is, for the Mercury it is good. For the Sun it is not good, because for the Sun, which means for yourself, you are degrading yourself for maintaining connections. Okay, but for the Mercury it is good. Why? Because your connections are automatically having your authority. You are governing the connection. The moment you decide to not allow people to walk over you, it's going to be a matter of time you will move away from the connection. And you will not look back. Never ever. Okay. So there is two sides of it. Just because you are letting people walk over you, that's why people are walking over you. The moment you decide that you are more important than your connection, on that specific time, you will never look back. Never look back. Okay. So this is about Sun Mercury Parivartan over here. Now if it is Parivartan is there in Virgo. So in Virgo, let's see in Virgo. Sun being in Virgo and Mercury being in Leo. The same Parivartan, but still the natures would be different. The Virgo Mercury is more about calculative person who who makes every calculative move. Even the small moves he will calculate and then he will move. Okay. So your Sun is going to act like a very calculative, logical, practical and rational person. Your father might be a very good businessman. He might give you all the practical advices of the world. Okay, and this is going to be a very nice situation, because even yourself, let's forget, let's just not put it as a father, but Sun as also yourself, your soul is a very practical, rational soul. This is going to help you a lot in your materialistic life, also in your spiritual life, because your soul is itself making every move after calculating it. Okay, a very practical and logical soul, that one which moves on time, situations and circumstances. And we talk about Mercury over here. Mercury is going to act like the Sun, and Sun is going to act like Mercury. So even let's say your speech is also going to act like Sun. You will have that authoritative speech, because Mercury is also speech. You will have that Sun type speech of impressing people, of managing the crowd with just speaking a few lines. Okay, so you would be a very good orator, very good speaker, and this combination is very good for politics. Okay, if you have this combination, I would definitely say go into politics. You might be a very good politician, because it is the power of your speech which might mesmerize the people. Okay, and in the opposite way, your soul itself is very calculative, practical and logical, that no matter any challenges you are getting, just like the game of chess, you will move each and every step in a very perfect manner. So this is a very good and a very, very good Parivartan. If you have it, just go into politics. Okay. Now talking about Jupiter. In case of Jupiter, we have two Rashis. No, let's not talk about Jupiter. Let's talk about number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, let's talk about Jupiter. In Jupiter, we have two Rashis, Sagittarius and Pisces. So let's say the Jupiter of Sagittarius and Pisces are two different Jupiters. The Jupiter of Sagittarius is all about learning, whereas the Jupiter of Pisces is all about applying. The major difference: Sagittarius Jupiter is all about learning. It is a very good learner, very good student, wants to understand each and everything, whereas Pisces Jupiter is all about organizing, managing things out from the knowledge of Jupiter. Okay, so Sagittarius Jupiter is also organizing, but Pisces Jupiter is more of a managing Jupiter. Sagittarius Jupiter is about learning new things, whereas Pisces Jupiter is about applying the knowledge. Okay, I am not speaking about skill, I am saying application of knowledge. So let's say your Jupiter is in Leo and Sun is in Sagittarius, so it is again going to give you a Parivartan Yoga. Your Sun is going to act like a Sagittarius Jupiter, and Jupiter is going to act like a Leo Sun. Over here, Jupiter and Sun are quite friendly. Both are warm planets. Okay, so this Parivartan will not create a damage. Rather, this Parivartan is going to be very easy going for you. Most people won't even realize that they are having this Parivartan, even in their behavior. Okay, because they would think, okay, I am just behaving like how I should, but there is this minute change. The sun, which is all about authority, is behaving like Jupiter. It is learning how to keep their authority, and in the process of learning of keeping authority, it is also keeping the authority. So most people will not realize. They would think, okay, the person is keeping a very good authority, he might be having good sun. Rather, it is also a parivartan. He is continuously learning how to keep authority in each and every level in the life, and he is keeping the authority in that. He learned how to keep authority at home, and he is applying it. After a few days, he learns how to keep authority at his career. He is learning it, he is applying it. So continuously learning, applying is going to go on. In case of the opposite side, the Jupiter is going to act, the sun is going to act like the Leo Jupiter, Sagittarius Jupiter, and Jupiter is going to act like the Leo sun. So the teachers over here in this case would be very predominant in nature. They would be behaving like, they would be very open and frank. Okay, they would tell everything on the face for the student to understand the harshness of life. So these people usually get strict teachers that mold their soul, that mold their mind, that mold their knowledge into a very good art. Okay, so this is a very good parivartan. The person will get very good guides, very good teachers, and very frank people around. Okay, frank guides are always better. They say anything on the face, whether it is good or bad. Okay, and it's upon the learner to accept that criticism. Okay, now see the another point. Pisces Jupiter is very good critic. Rather than Sagittarius Jupiter is not a good critic. Sagittarius Jupiter is all about understanding the good way knowledge. Okay, it is not deciphering the wrong knowledge and eliminating the wrong knowledge. It is about accumulating the right knowledge. Whereas Pisces Jupiter is about a good critic. It eliminates bad things. It gives you knowledge about the bad things, and by this manner you eliminate the bad things. Whereas the Sagittarius Jupiter is about adding the good things. So Sagittarius Jupiter is a good sweet teacher. Pisces Jupiter is a strict teacher. Eliminate the bad. That's what the Pisces Jupiter says. And add the good. That is what Sagittarius Jupiter says. So in this parivartan, when we are talking about Pisces and Leo, Sun in Pisces and Jupiter in Leo, the father is going to be a very big critic. Half of his life, you would think that father is a very big critic for me, he's always pessimistic and all this kind of thing. But later on, when your Sun and Jupiter gets matured in Navamsha, okay, maybe at the age of 16, you might realize your father is a very good critic, and that is why he is molding you out. Till the age of 16, you might hate your father to be a very pessimistic person. As you grow up, as your Jupiter and Sun matures, you will understand, okay, that it is the parivartan that is working. Your father is being a critic for your own good. Okay, and seeing about the Jupiter on this side, Sun on this side, Sun acts like the Jupiter of Pisces, and Jupiter acts like the Sun of Leo. So your teachers would be like a fatherly figure. You would have very good combination with your father, with your teacher. In this case, people are very good preachers and mentors and teachers. Okay, because this parivartan makes you a very good teacher. Okay, so this is also a very good combination if you want to be a teacher, mentor, someone who is teaching spirituality, or even some basic college professor, anything like that. Teaching field is very good in this profession. Okay, now last but not the least is the parivartan with Saturn. Okay, so Saturn has two signs, one is Capricorn and one is Aquarius. Capricorn Saturn is a good Saturn. Aquarius Saturn is a tough one Saturn. Okay, because the Capricorn Saturn is something that gives you darkness. It teaches you darkness. Okay, whereas the Aquarius Saturn is something that teaches you sorrow. Darkness is easy to conquer, sorrow is tough. Okay, so Capricorn Saturn is giving you darkness, Aquarius Saturn sorrow. Now see, this Parivartan with Sun is going to be very, very deadly. The Saturn is in Capricorn, Saturn is in Leo, and Sun is in Capricorn. Now the Capricorn Sun is going to act like a Swagrahi Capricorn Saturn, and Leo Saturn is going to act like a Swagrahi Sun. So what happens? Your father is someone from which you are getting a lot of darkness in life. It might be possible you have very bad connection with your father. Your father might not have any connection with you. Your father may have left you. Okay, you might not see your father. Okay, in any of the cases, there is a very big distance between you and your father. Maybe emotional distance, practical distance. So this is a deadly combination. Plus, let's also talk about the aspect of Sun in the career. Your career might give you darkness. Okay, you might be forced to do things you don't like in your life just to earn money, just for survival. Okay, so in this life you are doing things that you don't like, which is giving you a lot of darkness in life. Okay, rather in the opposite case, Sun is also acting like Saturn. Okay, and Saturn is also acting like Sun. So wherever you have to work, you are not working, rather you are just exercising your own way of thoughts and thinking that I want to do this, I want to do that. In that case, you are also losing opportunities. Okay, so these people are very bad at job. Okay, they are very bad in career, because where they have to work, they are exercising their own will. I want to do this, I want to do that, I want this, I want that. In I want, they are losing many opportunities, because where they have to work like Saturn, they are behaving like Sun. And in another case, where there is Sun, it is also behaving like Saturn, where you have to exercise your duty, you are not doing it. Where you have to tell no, you are not saying a no. You have a very big problem telling no to people. Okay, in this manner, people are taking advantage of you. Getting my point? People are taking continuously advantage of you. You are working madly where you don't have to do work. You are working into fields that you don't like. What you like, in those cases you are not able to compromise. So this is a very troublesome situation, and you have to change a lot. Okay, you have to transform yourself completely. You have to see where I can compromise, where I should not speak, where I should speak. Okay, you have to completely change yourself. For this, you have to select the 8th house lord in your chart and do the mantra of your 8th house lord, and see where it is sitting. See the dispositor of 8th house lord and wear that gemstone in your neck. Okay, because this is a very tough situation. Even in the next case, see, Aquarius Saturn in Parivartan with Sun, it is even worse, because there it was just about darkness. Over here it is sorrow. You are sad, you are crying, you want to die. Aquarius Saturn is a sorrow. So Leo is acting, the sun in Aquarius is acting like Aquarius Saturn. Your father is very sorrowful. You are getting sorrow from your father. You are crying from inside. Okay, in another case, Saturn is acting like Sun. Sun is acting like Saturn. In your career, you are getting sorrow. You are getting betrayed. You are getting backstabbed. Okay, nobody is respecting you. You are facing disrespect. There are monetary crises. Okay, there is no financial support. Where you want to work, where you have to gain finance, you are getting sorrow. Okay, so this is the worst Parivartan over here, but still you are getting saved because of that Parivartan. In this, you have to see the dispositor of 6th house. Sorry, 4th house, because 4th house is the 8th house from the 8th house. Okay, so you have to see the dispositor of 4th house. You have to see where the lord of 4th house is sitting. You have to check the lord of 4th house, wherever it is sitting, that sign lord gemstone you have to wear in your neck. because it is very well necessary for you to feel like home. You do not feel like home neither in your home nor in your career, nor here nor there. So you are like that dhobi ka kutta na ghar ka na ghat ka. Yet the Parivartan is saving you by giving you survival things. So you are surviving in life, but yet from internally you are burning. So that Parivartan is not good. The last one Parivartan is again a very sorrowful Parivartan, because the adjustment is it's going to be very tough. You cannot adjust in society with this Parivartan at all. Okay. So this was about the Parivartan Yoga of Sun. In the next video, I would give the Parivartan Yoga of some another planet. This was about Sun. Okay. Thank you for connecting with Vedic Vedanta.